consider subscribing. Today's video is about something I didn't know existed until my mother showed me. And I apologize, I'm going to have to be looking down at my phone, and hopefully I'll have the video up on the screen right now. But what she showed me is this little guy, and the video that I recorded is about 24 seconds long. And the best way I think I can describe it is a single-use MP3 player. It houses an audiobook, and there's a battery in there. So yeah, I popped off the top, and whether I'm speaking right now to me popping off the top or not, whatever. But there's a battery in there, and then there's a headphone jack, and that's it. And it's like, okay, you might be asking yourself the same way that I asked myself, what's the point of this, and what purpose is this serving that replaces, or I guess in lieu of, something else? So obviously, while you're driving, you can't physically, I'll say you shouldn't be physically reading a book. Great. So we have audiobooks. A lot of audiobooks are available on disc if you're going to the public library, and this is the public library's doing. There are a lot of audiobooks on CDs, which I know a lot of cars no longer have CD players. But what I've said, and I think I'm going to try to go in order in terms of what I've suggested to my mother, and let her know that, hey, I am here with you if you need help doing this. But I said, okay, you can go get those audiobooks from the public library, and you can rip them to your computer, and then we can sync them up to your phone. Now, right now, it's a little different because she's using an Android device as opposed to an iPhone, so it's not as seamless, but it's definitely something we could have looked into together in the event that that's something she wanted to do. But we did it one time, and I think she just felt like it took too long. So I said, okay. And the only reason I even suggested that was because she would have, I was going to say garbage bags, but grocery store bags full of audiobooks. Like, all right, she's going on a trip, so she just goes to the library and checks out, I guess, as many as they'll allow her to check out. So she's, walking around with these bags. They're in the car. And what's dangerous is she's trying to reach and swap CDs while she's driving. Now, granted, she's not doing it every 3 or 4 minutes, but she's doing it frequently. So that's one issue there. The second issue, which as a person who still uses optical media, I absolutely hate her disregard for the fact of, I guess, how you should care for an optical disc. I mean, putting your fingerprints all over them and just kind of throwing them around. Now, how does she always handle them? I don't know, but I've seen her, like with my own eyes, handle them completely improperly. Like not understanding that, hey, a laser needs to read tiny little grooves that are on the bottom of that disc. And as you're putting all your fingerprints and whatever other soot that might be on your hands and placing the disc wherever they might go, you're making it harder for the disc player to do its job, but you're also just inconveniencing the next person who chooses to get the disc. So I said, hey, let's avoid that. Still try to teach you how to properly hold a disc because she's been doing it for decades now. But hey, let's not do that. Let's sync up your phone, and then that way you can connect your phone to the car radio, and then you can go forward from there. Her and my father both pointed out, well, what happens if she doesn't like the book? Well, you win some and you lose some, okay? And I guess, yeah, that is one downside of, all right, if we spend, I guess, 5 minutes on each one of these books and you don't like half of them, then it's like, all right, well, yeah, you did waste some time. But for the ones that you did like, then now, yeah, they're just on your phone and you can go whatever. So yeah, to both of their points, I get it. It might feel like it was wasted time in the event that she does not like the book. So in that case, cool. So, but that was, one potential solution. Get the disc as she was doing, put them on her phone. Okay. Then, which I think most of you are probably like, yeah, why didn't you just do it this way? Use an app. And I was at first just going to point out whether it was Audible or whether it was Overdrive, which is now Libby, which is the app that's associated with many of the public libraries. So with that, and I think she has the app, not Audible, but I'm pretty sure she has Libby or Overdrive on, maybe not her latest phone, but I'm pretty sure she had it. And I just show her, hey, this is all you got to do. And you can download it and you can listen to it offline. And I had to preface, you could listen to it offline because the data plan that she did have up until last week, she was paying Verizon $50 a month for unlimited talk and text. and 1 GB of data. And I told her plenty of times, hey, they're charging you too much for what you're getting. And she'd always say, well, I don't really need it right now, blah, 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 1 GB. And for the most part, that is true. The only time she would ever go over is when she would make these trips, which is what we're talking about holistically here. And then, yeah, Verizon's overages are, I don't know, like maybe $10 or $15 for each additional, like 500 megabytes or something, like something ridiculous by an actual standard of, or I guess for an actual metric, like $15 for, or let's even say $10 or even $5 for 500 megs, like, and there's no real way to quantify that easily. So yeah, I kept saying, okay, I understand that you have a very low data plan. I've tried my best to get you to switch to something else, and you just haven't done it yet. But you can still download the books directly to your phone, and then you can listen to them offline and not consume any of your 1 GB. But she never did that. At least she never did it, or went beyond just downloading the app, if she actually did that. And that was with Overdrive. I don't think we ever committed to Audible. And I'm still not sure if I'm sold on Audible either. I haven't given it a ton of attention in terms of truly understanding. Do you have the option to stream their entire catalog? Or can you stream, I feel like you can stream like 1 book a month. I wasn't completely sure, so I didn't really give my strong opinion on Audible. But with Libby and Overdrive, absolutely, perfectly fine. So the whole point of this video was just to not question her, because hey, if the public library has this option available, who is she to not use it? But I am questioning the public library of, okay, you have these single-use devices. One, I'd be asking them, for everything that's available on these single-use devices, are they also available to download through the app? Are they also available on actual disk right now? Whether it's here locally, can I get it from another branch, whatever. Like, what is how are they working in tandem with each other? Is it all just duplicated? Are they all separate? Is there a little bit of some here, a little bit of some there, a little bit of some on both? So I'm curious as to that fact right there. 2, and this is a question I'm sure they wouldn't have at the actual library, is are these devices able to be repurposed? Once you, cycle through tech refresh, whatever the appropriate term is, with this one thing, do you send it back to a factory? Do they load another book on it? Can you load another book on it here at the library? Does it just become e-waste? What happens? And is this, with those 2 questions, is this truly helpful? Yes, my mom did rent it, but did she rent it just because it was easier for her at this moment? Because maybe maybe I didn't do a good enough job explaining to her how to use either of those apps. So just curious. And yeah, I not taking anything away from her. She was extremely excited to show me that, hey, this is what the public library has now. And, as you can see, whether I still have the video running now or not, yeah, that's one thing. And she, I'm holding it in my hand. And I'm like, yeah, that's great, Mom. And that one device, has 1 book on it. But do you realize, and I held up my phone and I said, I could put, I don't know, locally hundreds of books on this. I mean, I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to, average, but let's just say hundreds. But with now your better data plan, and of course, when you connect it to Wi-Fi, you then have access to all of the books that are available through whatever platform you're using. So this is definitely a more worthwhile thing compared to this one single-use device. But hey, I get it, different generations, but it's still, it's not like that was something she was using when she was a kid. So it's still digital media. So whether that digital media is that single-use device, which you've never seen prior to this week, or the phone that you use to some extent almost every day, I figured this would be a better place to start. But for some reason, she's gone that route, and I'm sure there are other people out there as well. So again, not criticizing, not judging, just curious as to, for both my mom and the public library, how is this true? That I see it's an available option. And for some people, yes, it might be easier, but is it just another service? Hey, We know some people want to get the physical disc. We know some people are using the app. For some reason, some people don't do either one of those, which is fine. So we now created this thing. And then my question is, okay, now that you've created this thing, what's the end goal? What is the end of life process for this new thing?